Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today the battle's getting underway right away because of some Vanguard shenanigans here, so let's get to the army compositions. We've got Dark Riders and Doomfire Warlocks over on this flank. I should mention Greenskins versus Hargaveth, obviously, here. We've got more Dark Riders and more Doomfire Warlocks, these Slaanesh Harvesters, over on this side. Main line's going to be a mix of Dread Spears. We've got the Crone, Hellebrone herself up on her cart here. In terms of abilities, the Less Broken Cursed Blade, Amulet of Darkfire, and with 22% magic resistance here, Fury of Cain, Heroic Killing Blow, and Gaze of Cain. We've cut Witchbrew just for cost here. We've got 2 units of Sisters of Slaughter, Blades of the Blood Queen, of course, providing that beautiful Guardian aura to both Hellebrone and this Sorceress Lore of Death here, who's got Spirit Leech and Doom and Darkness. The idea there is we're going to overcast that in an area of effect and get a good terror route going with Hellebrone. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my army, for my opponent's army. You can see he's got the 2 functional groups of Vanguard Gobos here, Nasty Skulkers, Warlord's Boys and Nasty Skulkers, with 2 Night Gobbo Archers, and the mirror over on this side, but with the 8-peak Loonies instead. Main line's going to be more Skulkers, 2 Black Orcs, Orc Boys, and 2 Goblin Archers, with Skarsnik, a Knight Gobbo Shaman, and a Gobbo War Boss. So Skarsnik, probably up there for the top worst legendary lord in the game. If not, he's certainly in the bottom 5, but he's just awful. Skarsnik is just sad, and we'll talk more about why he's so sad in the post-battle screen, but yeah, let's get the battle rolling into full gear. You can see over here we've got a very pitched engagement developing between the Vanguard Light Cavalry. I figured, you know, since we were literally right on top of them, we should just stand and fight, whereas my other force deployed like right in front of those Gobbo Archers, so we just ran away. Because I discovered my opponent's ambush early on, I'm going to be able to counter his strategy rather than just rushing forward to meet this force here in the middle, because I know there's Gobbos all over on the flanks. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the army back and kind of form up and try and separate these functional groups from this group of Gobbos. You can see to that effect, I'm also bringing my other mobile units over to this pocket here. We're going to try and take care of these isolated Gobbos and then face the rest of the force as one contiguous force rather than walking into my opponent's trap here. So yeah, you can see the Doomfire Warlocks kind of getting loose. The Dark Riders, unfortunately, did take a lot of damage and get routed off there, but these Night Gobbo Archers also got routed off here, so the Doomfire Warlock's going to be getting in here, riding them down, throwing some Doomfire at them and all that jazz. And obviously, since none of these units have charge defense, we can just straight up charge them in the face with these Dark Riders and Doomfire Warlocks and do relatively okay. You can see we're pulling up the main line here, getting ready to get the main engagement underway here. You can see Word of Pain going down. Probably not the best use of the bound Word of Pain, but I just wanted to make sure these Nasty Skulkers didn't do any damage to the Dark Riders. You can see Slaanesh Harvesters also pushing through, using that bound Soul Stealer to try and get some health back from the damage they took from the Archers on the other side. Mainline engagement's about to get underway in earnest as well. My opponent a little bit late on his wall timing. He needs to pop the wall like right now so that he gets good effect from the charge bonus, but he does drop an Itchy Nuisance in the front line there. Sisters of Slaughter fighting Nasty Skulkers, though, is going to be worst case scenario for the Skulkers. They will just get absolutely cut to pieces. Same thing with these Blades of the Blood Queen fighting the Black Orcs here, and especially once Hellebrone gets involved, drops the Red Mist there. Lots of effects going down here on both sides. Looks like Itchy Nuisance also going down, and the Wad now being popped a little bit late there. Honestly, probably wanted to use that on that initial charge, but you can see the mobile units were able to clean up this functional group of Gobbos before this functional group really got into place there. So because of the lucky Vanguard, and I will say that was completely luck, but yeah, the lucky Vanguard there allowed me to discover my opponent's ambush, so we were able to kind of outmaneuver it a little bit. You can see that Overcast, Doom and Darkness going down, routing off a lot of the units in this pocket. Obviously, Orc Boys and the Night Gobbo Shaman not immune to psychology. Neither is Skarsnik either, and that's another one of his big issues. You know, he's got anti-large AP, he even has charge defense, I think. We can check after, but yeah. not immune to psychology, so he will get probably terror routed away there. It looks like actually he's able to hold his leadership, which is pretty impressive, but those Night Gobbo archers aren't able to hold their leadership. Meanwhile, the Gobbo Big Boss ran out and got involved over here for some reason. But yeah, a lot of those Gobbos being shattered at this point. We're going to be able to probably chase off that Night Gobbo Shaman as well, depending on my target prioritization there. But it looks like they're actually chasing someone else. But yeah, Night Gobbo Archers still on station. Obviously, we lost out the melee engagement on this side because I only sent a couple of Dread Spears over just to hold them in place. But now the Sisters of Slaughter pushing through. It's definitely going to be a dangerous situation for these Gobbos. They are going to have to turn tail and run in a big hurry. The volume of fire, though, is definitely going to do some damage to Hellebrand. You can see she's down below half HP already, taking some damage from Skarsnik, some damage from the arrows, and because of all the damage she's taken, the balance of power is still relatively even, slightly in my favor, and ticking more in my favor as we start to do some damage to these Black Orcs here in particular. You can see Blades of the Blood Queen are about on station here to bail out these Dread Spears. But more Skulkers coming in as well, and of course, Black Orcs with their heavy weapon damage will be able to put quite a beating on Crone Hellebrand here, but we've popped the heroic killing blow. Looks like another Itchy Nuisance going down from my opponent from that rallied Gobbo Shaman, who unfortunately the Dark Rider's not able to chase him down effectively. But yeah, we're going to counter that with the Gaze of Cain there. Or not the Gaze of Cain. Is it the Gaze of Cain? Yeah, Gaze of Cain. Just the Red Mist Murder Party effect. Going to go down and let these Dark Elves have a grand old time against the Black Orcs here. You can see Blades of the Blood Queen and Dread Spear still mixing it up. Definitely going to be a bad day for the Greenskins. Skarsnik getting very, very low despite of the Bad Moon. Interesting. But yeah, the upgraded Doom and Darkness does rout off those Black Orcs, terrify away the Skulkers, and at that, my opponent will admit defeat there. My sisters were also kind of rampaging through the back line there. Dark Riders getting on the archers and so on. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, that battle was definitely over. So well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. In terms of the army breakdown here, Sisters of Slaughter obviously doing very well. 164 kills on Dark Riders is not bad at all either. Just running down, routing Gobbos. 123 and 209 on the Doomfire Warlocks as well. 91 on Hellebrand herself. So pretty solid stuff. So let's dive in and take a little bit further look at Skarsnik. Crone Hellebrand, I have to say, seems less broken, but I really wanted to focus on Skarsnik at the moment because he is by far and away one of the worst, if not the worst, legendary lord in the game currently. So he's 1,600 points, which is not too bad. He's relatively cheap. In terms of his abilities, Wa is Wa. All Greenskin Lords have Wa. A Spite of the Bad Moon's not too bad, although it's not unique to him. It does give him a missile block chance, which he lacks baseline, and Expert Charge Defense, which can help when infantry are charging him. He does have Charge Defense against large baseline. But other than that, he really doesn't have a lot going for him. He has poison attacks, anti-large AP, but his weapon strength is pretty subpar, especially considering that it's him and Gobla. You would think they'd have at least 400 total weapon strength, but no, only 390. Does have that bonus versus large of 30, but I mean, how much does that actually account for? Only 50 armor as well, and 55 melee defense, which is not great. I mean, for some characters, that's pretty decent. If you compare him to a lot of the other Greenskin characters, he actually has the highest other than the Orc War Boss and the Night Goblin War Boss, and this is just an issue with a lot of Greenskin Lords, that they need better melee defense, Grimgor in particular, but this is about Skarsnik, so the way I see it, that Skarsnik should be similar to Tretch, where he is just super hard to kill because of his good melee defense. So if we go over here to the Skaven and just compare Tretch's stats to... Tretch is cheaper, first of all, 300 points cheaper, and he has a lot more going for him by the way of abilities. You can see Tretch has the Tretch's Raiders, obviously, which is a significant buff to nearby units if they're winning. He also has the Verminous Valor, which is, you know, granted a unique Skaven ability, although if Skarsnik got something similar, maybe like a Poison Explosion like Khalidah's, that would be super helpful for him, just because he's an infantry-only lord that has good mass, probably the best mass of any infantry-only lord. He's actually immune to getting knocked over, because it's him and Gobla. But unfortunately, he still can't pull out, really. Like, he can't, if he's surrounded by enemy infantry, he can't pull out. So a Verminous Valor type ability would be welcome, although I'm not sure that that's something that they would actually add to Skarsnik. Let's see, the Stay Here I'll Get Help is similar-ish to the Trixie Traps, although my issue with Trixie Traps is it's a blue level ability, whereas Stay Here, I'll Get Help is only a green level ability. Granted, this one only gives Tretch stock, whereas Tricksy Traps gives everyone stock. But it also doesn't last very long. You can see it lasts 30 seconds, which is a decent amount of time, but it's still not as long as it needs to be. Moreover, Skarsnik, he doesn't have Vanguard. I don't know why he doesn't have Vanguard, but all the other Night Gobos, you know, have Vanguard. The Night Gobbo Shaman has Vanguard even. If you take the Great Gobbo Shaman on a wolf, he can Vanguard, but for some reason Skarsnik can't Vanguard, which I always found quite odd that he doesn't have that ability in multiplayer. In campaign, I think you have to take a skill for him to be able to Vanguard, or is it like his whole army can Vanguard, or I don't remember exactly, but he should have Vanguard in multiplayer so that you can take him with a full Vanguard Gobbo list, because if you can deploy right in your opponent's face, you know, I've showed off similar builds before using the Gobbo Great Shaman, and it can definitely be effective if you could have Skarsnik in there as a nice tanky melee hero who would be relatively hard to goon, and also, you know, could dish out some okay damage. The issue is right now is that he's not good at dealing damage, and he's not good defensively. And his support buffs aren't really there either, so there's just not really a role for Skarsnik. He's not a support lord, he's not a tank lord, he's not a damage dealer lord, so what exactly is his role? And I think that's the biggest issue. In my view, he should be like the tank lord for the Greenskins, because they don't have one. And, I mean, obviously he doesn't have regeneration, but just through high melee defense, and also, you know, Tricksy Traps making him hard to find, Vanguard giving him, you know, some other sneaky kind of goblin shenanigan abilities. I do think that all that would make him a lot better. And, yeah, melee defense I can't harp enough about. That's the most important stat in the game. So I really feel like Skarsnik should get a melee defense buff. If they want to take him the other route, then they should. If they want to make him more of a damage dealer lord, then he needs more weapon strength and melee attack. If they want him more of a support lord, then he needs better support buffs, because right now, I mean, Spite of the Bad Moon's okay, Tricksy Traps is alright. It's pretty situational, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Skarsnik. His Prada is what it is. It's not amazing, which is kind of sad, because I was talking to Lore Master Sotek about it, and he actually said that Skarsnik's Prada in tabletop is very, very scary. But, you know, it is what it is. I doubt they would ever change that, especially because it has quite a cool animation. It just doesn't do that much damage. But anyway, I've ranted enough about Skarsnik. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below, though. What would you do to buff up the old Gobbo? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. We'll see you next time.